This episode of The Rest is Football is powered by Saily, the app that stops your holiday turning into a tech nightmare. Let me ask you this, lads. Have you ever been caught out by dodgy public Wi-Fi?
Yes, I have. I was in Dubai recently in shopping mall somewhere. I got asked if I wanted to log on to the Wi-Fi, and I thought, it feels a bit dodgy. I don't like this. So, yeah, I have, yeah.
A bit sketchy, isn't it? And I don't trust the security. It's a hacker's dream, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So whether you're streaming the match or sorting a cab, do it with Saily's safe and secure internet connection, not mystery Wi-Fi. And the best bit, you'll save money too by avoiding roaming fees. You can download Saily in your app store and use our code RESTISFOOTBALL at checkout to get an exclusive 15% off your first purchase, or just hit the link in the episode description box. Hello and welcome to The Rest is Football with me, Gary Lineker. Today I'm delighted to say that joining me is a very special guest here in my kitchen. A footballer who started his career at Dundee United, moved to Rangers, was a Scottish international, played for Everton, not once but twice, sandwiched by a spell at Newcastle United. He returned to Everton in a coaching capacity, and I think it's fair to say, as Goodison Park prepares for its last hurrah of the many players that have graced that wonderful stage, Duncan Ferguson will be remembered very, very fondly by the fans. Welcome.
Great to be here, Gary. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege.
So you're very
Privilege to be in a legend's presence.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I think you scored more goals in a season than I did in 10 years at Everton.
Not quite. No, I did look
30
up.
you got, didn't you?
30 league, 40 in all total. So
I'm 40 in total.
so get it right. Sorry. You've written a book about your life, because I was thinking beforehand, and actually saw in the foreword, that you'd never really spoken a lot, have you, publicly? I mean, when you were coaching for a while and some of the caretaker roles, you'd come on the end of the game, you say stuff and you talked about the football, but your life and your private life.
Yeah, well, I kept it private as best I could. But I had a bad time up in Scotland when I was a young man, and I felt the press stitched me up. And a certain incident that happened to me when I went to prison. I thought they were a big part of that. I was young, obviously a bit naive. They were only doing their jobs. But I thought they kind of chased a headline that kind of got my case with the John McStay incident at Ibrox, that enhanced that in people's minds. So the reason why I stopped talking to the press was because of that, really. Because I thought, I was blaming them. I was blaming everybody.
Yeah. Now, I have to say, Big Dunc. Oh, hang on. Let's see.
That's what you're only a goalkeeper.
No, definitely not a goalkeeper. Big Dunc, the autobiography. I was sent a PDF copy, but only on Monday. Now, it's quite a big book, so I'm halfway through. And my original plan, if I'm honest, was to skim read it, because I thought I'm not going to be able to finish the whole thing in 2 days. Skim read it. But as soon as I started reading it, I was encapsulated, and it's really powerful stuff. You've been incredibly honest and open.
Yeah, I think you've got to be in a way. It's been a long time coming, the book. I got asked a lot of times, Gary, to write a book. Every year I was getting asked. Of course, I was worried about writing the book in case it was going to damage me. I wanted to go into management and things like that, and I didn't want to bring up all the past. So you are worried. But it's great. I'm glad that you didn't just skim through it. So it can't be that rubbish, can it? It must be half decent.
Honestly, it's not even half rubbish. It's actually really, really exceptional. I mean, it's powerful. And you've had, let's say, quite the life.
Yeah, I have. Certainly when I was younger, definitely, Gary. I went through a lot of daft moments in my life. I was young. Growing up as well, we're all young, but of course I struggled to handle it in a way. I was on the streets of Stirling. I was, going to nightclubs. I was, getting myself in terrible situations, and I found it difficult to cope. Probably being a football player and getting recognised, and I found it difficult to walk away. But I've been as honest as I possibly could be in the book. I've been honest as you rightly noticed and observed, and that's me. It's got to be straight, haven't you?
You mellowed now, though, in your older age, because you were obviously, it's interesting. Your relationship with your dad is quite strong in the book, and you can see that one of your dad's things was how you get your punch in first, and he was also a bouncer at times, and he's obviously a hard-working man. You've got massive respect and love for him. That comes shining through the book. But do you think because of the way you were brought up, you were kind of attracted towards those situations which could land you in trouble?
Possibly. Although, as you say, my dad was a working man, a strong man, and got us out, a tenement into the council houses, and we moved into a bigger house, the family house that we're in now. And tremendous man. I've got no real excuse. I'd love to say, but my dad stopped drinking when he was a young man as well. I've stopped drinking. Unfortunately, I just stopped drinking too late. I should have maybe started drinking now. When you're younger, you should have done it back to front.
Yeah.
I stopped drinking when I was 35. I should have just been starting then. So I think, my upbringing possibly, we all got brought up in estates at the time, and there was, I liked to do a wee bit of boxing, and I knew how to throw a punch and etc. And obviously my dad's advice was to get the first one in. Don't hang around, and just get in there. Don't ask questions. And probably that's good advice in a way, but no if you're a football player, no if you're you're in the public eye, and in the end people came towards me and I would hit first, really, and that got me in a lot of trouble between 16 and 19, I think. Yeah, a period in my life that I'm not proud of.
When you were part of that growing up and you were going through these issues, and you obviously you've got a temper. You've got a temper. Do you see the red mist? Because I haven't got that. I've never had, I always think, I find it fascinating, people who have that red mist when it just goes.
Yeah, probably when I was younger, I had a short, a quicker fuse, I think. Yeah. As you've got older and you mellow, don't you? You become a better person. You don't put yourself in their positions. I stopped drinking. Before you know it, you stop confrontation off the field. Yeah. So I've had no confrontation, since I've not had a drink type of thing. I've not been in nightclubs or bars. The temper-wise, when you get to the playing side, I was aggressive, and certainly there was a fuse in there, and obviously I crossed the line too many times, and I'm not proud of it, Gary. To be honest, it's not. I don't think I'm not proud of the fact that I got red cards or I've been to prison or not had these assaults. It's not what I put my mum and dad through. It keeps me up at night. To be honest,
Really, I've got to talk about Barlinnie Prison. I mean, the opening to the book. I have read so many sporting autobiographies, but I've never read a first chapter like that. Or if you call it a first chapter, but your experience of Barlinnie Prison, it sounds like medieval, horrendous.
Well, it was to be honest, and it was frightening. It was frightening. I suppose in a way when you're younger, you don't realise how frightening. I mean, I was probably in a way thinking, this would be exciting. I'm young. I can handle myself, I'm fit, I'm just going to get in and meet it head on. But I was petrified as well, terrifying. Yeah. Not a nice place. No. Not a nice place. And you're right, it's probably a bit like getting old Porridge. When you see the old sitcom, The Porridge, and you see the television, it's a bit like that. It's all Victorian, like you say, the medieval Victorian thing. Not a nice place. And I think when you go in there, you could easily get in a bad place very quickly if you're not strong enough, Yeah. It's not easy, mate. It's not easy. I was only a young man. I was only 23, I think, when I went in. Yeah. And it was Barlinnie. It's in the middle of the city centre. It's in the middle of Glasgow. Yeah. There's not an open, Nick.
Why were you sent there?
Probably because I was probably a massive threat to the community. whatever they or standing
because
in the taxi line.
I mean, you went in there because of something that actually happened on the field of play, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's the last time it's happened, and because I think they changed the rules. I was on probation, Gary, for these fat lips and black eyes, I call it, when I was younger, between 16 and 19. I got myself in 2 or 3 situations.
Yeah, there was 2 at a bus stop, wasn't there?
Yeah, a taxi rank, and
it's amazing that you wait all that time for one to come along, then 2 fights
come along at the same time. You've been waiting to get them in, haven't you? So keep out your taxi ranks, keep away from pool tables. Yeah. That's where my problems all started.
I played snooker for 10 years. I never saw a scrimmage in there ever. That was Leicester. We're quite soft down
Snooker is a bit more classier than pool. I should know. You know my brother-in-law's John Parrott, don't you?
Brother-in-law's John? Yeah. Is he? I played snooker with John way back in the day.
John used to invite me round to his house to play snooker, right? And I think, oh great, come round to play John, world champion. But I didn't realise, but I knew then what he was doing. I was just picking the balls out the pocket.
That's what you
so
do.
That's
yeah.
all you're doing. So he's knocking him, and I'm just going black on the spot.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all I was doing.
Good job you didn't play him at pool. You might have knocked him out.
Well, football. Yeah. John's a lovely man. I wouldn't never do that to John.
I'm joking.
To be fair, I did play him at pool once.
Yeah.
It was at a christening, one of my kids' christenings or birthdays, and I beat him 5-4 at pool. I was very good at pool, as you can imagine. I had plenty of practice. And I beat him 5-4 on the black ball. To this day, I don't know if he let me win.
No, not
But I
at
was a
all.
good pool player.
Yeah. Remind people what happened at Ibrox. It was with John McStay against Wraith Rovers.
Yes. I'd had 2 or 3 assaults previously, as we discussed, in the taxi ranks and in pool tables. And I'd been put in probation. The last offence was in a fishing village in Anstruther. I got into a fight with some fishermen. And that was my last. Then I went to court, the judge then put me on probation. Yeah, because I was running a bit wild, and the judge thought, well, we'll put him on probation. So that means then if I committed another offence within the next 2 years, I think it was, I was potentially going to prison. Obviously, I didn't think that was going to happen on a football pitch.
No.
So I was on a football pitch at Ibrox, tussle for the ball. I collided with John McStay, which was a headbutt, but it was not a forced headbutt. We connected.
Was it one of those?
There was that's it. There was
strutting sort of thing.
That's it. And I put my head forward. He went down as he would do because he felt the force. And that was it. So, no discussion, no nothing. Referee comes up, no problems, no yellow card. They get a free kick. We play on. Nothing said. I think I scored my first goal for Rangers that day. I scored my first goal. Nothing said. After the game, the press then goes into McStay and say to him, all the Rangers boys in there are saying you cheated.
Yeah.
You
didn't even get a yellow or a red card for that, did you?
Not a yellow, not nothing. No. Played on.
Wasn't even VAR. You can't even blame them.
No, that'd have been a straight red then all day long. So the press had said to the boy McStay that Big Dunc saying that you dived, and the Rangers boy saying you dived. He said, I never dived. They did connect with me. I'm not a cheat. So they had their headline. Next day, Big Dunc headbutts me. So, of course, then it was all over the papers, all over the news. And there was a procurator fiscal, they call him in Scotland, a judge. He must have watched it on the television at night. And he then knew that I was on probation. So he then called the police to investigate this situation, this assault in Ibrox. Yeah. So the guy assaulted never complained. The 40,000 fans in the stadium witnessing this assault never complained. 200 police in Ibrox never complained. Nobody. So that's why I felt it was unfair on me.
And then the football associations, or the Scottish Football Association, banned you for what?
12 games.
Yeah.
They jumped into the case quickly. They banned me for 12 games prior to the court case. So I thought that was prejudging me, and it was unfair. They gave me a 12-game ban, and it just snowballed from there really. And in the end, obviously, I started going realising that I got charged for the offence, and then I realised then that this could possibly end in prison for me.
Well, you appealed, and then you lost again, and you did end up. Just talk us through that, if you could, that first day going to Barlinnie. And firstly, Barlinnie is notorious, isn't it, as being one of the toughest prisons, well, anywhere.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's horrible looking. You're petrified just looking at the place. No easy to go in there as a young man on my own. Because you were on your own.
You were well known as well by this stage. Obviously, you played at Rangers.
I played for the Rangers.
How's that it comes over really well, and you tell the story really well in the book. It's quite powerful. What's it like being like a famous footballer going in there? I suppose some of them would like you because they might be Rangers fans, but on the other side,
I wasn't very good at Rangers either, by the way. I didn't like me.
Or maybe none of them like you. But then you get this. I don't know how it works, but
Rangers and Celtic, there's a lot of sectarianism up there. There's a lot of hatred, as you know. I played for Glasgow Rangers. I was also a Premier League player by Everton. I'd moved to Everton. Going into that building on your own was not an easy experience. It was frightening. As I said to you, but I tried to front it. I was young, a wee bit fearless at the time.
You talk about the threats you received in the first day or two.
That was frightening because obviously, when you're hearing people shouting at you that they want to slash you and cut you to pieces, you big orange bastard, what they were shouting to me, and they would pinpoint your cell very quickly. It was frightening because I couldn't sleep at night. Obviously, you're thinking in the morning, this is what's going to happen to me. So stepping onto the landing for the very first time in the morning was really, taking that first step was very difficult, very difficult.
What struck me as well is how you described the fact there's no toilets.
Couldn't believe it.
I mean,
obviously, I'm looking for a 5-star suite. The toilets, there was nothing, and I didn't know that.
It was like that in Italian 90, actually. I remember.
Is it really?
I didn't quite well know an accident on the pitch, but that's
okay.
Fine. I was
a number one or a number two?
It was unfortunately it was a proper number two.
Oh my God! Well, to be fair, I was having a few number twos going into Berlin. Believe me.
I can imagine. But yeah, and you were talking about the throwing excrement over out the cells.
It was amazing about the things they were doing. I mean, if you'd done a number two or a poo in your pot, it got left in there. So if you're in the weekend, you're on lockdown, there's a skeleton staff round about, so you got locked down basically 23 hours a day on a weekend. And if you'd done your number two in that pot, you're going to stink your cell out the whole weekend. And the boys would say to me, because once I got Pally, the boy next to me, I'd actually say, like, don't be doing a number, a shite in your pot, Make sure you get it in the paper and get it out the window. I'm thinking, what? It's honest, but it's how quickly you fall into it, Gary, it's amazing. We're all very resilient, and you've got to fall into it. Nobody's really telling you what to do. You start following people and you start realising this is the rules. Next minute, I've got the Daily Record paper on the floor of my cell. I'm squatting doing my business in this Daily Record paper. Yeah. I'm then rolling it up and I'm thrown out the window, Yeah. And I'm now shouting bombs away. I'm shouting bombs away, and sometimes the boys were lighting them because it smelled even worse. And it'd be, it was horrendous. But you just somehow fell into that because you had to. You just had to.
How long were you in there in the end? 40 odd days?
So I got 3 months and I done I think 6 or 7 weeks. Whatever it was.
You got out for good behaviour because you didn't set fire to it.
Well, that's it. But you're right there because you could easily break your probation again, but you could get put in there for months and months and months. Yeah. And I come close a few times to that. Yeah.
Must have been the most difficult and long-lasting period. Time must have gone so slow.
It's so slow, Gary. It's so slow. I don't know when the lights come on in the morning and they come off at night. Like every day's a week. It's so slow. In the first few days, I was only just mopping around, tidying up until they got me a job. And that job was in the hospital wing, which was in the middle of the nick. And I was then serving all the real lunatics who were really in problems, having problems. I used to serve them their meals. But they paid you, believe it or not. You got paid. Yeah. So I got like £9 a week. So I got £9 a week.
Got pay rise then.
Pay rise for Dundee United. Yeah. So they paid me £9 a week, So when I come out, actually I got 6 nines. 6 nines. Was it 7 weeks did I do?
54, no?
Was it 6 or 7? I can't remember. It was 7 weeks or 6 weeks. I did 6 nines or 54.
It probably felt like 6 years, didn't it?
Yeah. And every day's like a week. Yeah. But they paid you for your job, like.
Tell me about the time. What is day 1, day 2? You had a haircut.
Frightening. And I mean, frightening. After the night before, everybody's telling me that they're going to cut me. They're going to cut me to pieces, you big orange bee. We're going to cut you in the morning, we're going to slice you to pieces. I think it was the very next day or the day after, I stepped onto the landing, and believe it or not, there was a guy on that landing who was cutting hair. So there was A hall, B hall, C hall, and D hall. A hall was the worst hall, and it went down. And so D hall was you're a bit more trusted. But there was remand prisoners on there that could be up for murder or anything. But D hall was a bit more trusted, and obviously I didn't know at the time, but this guy was trusted. But frightening. So I stepped onto the landing, and he was cutting hair. And the whole place went quiet, and he shouted to me, "Big man, do you want your hair cut? Do you want your hair cut?" I'm thinking, no. I don't know. The night before, they're going to cut you to pieces. Honestly, what could I do? Everybody's looking at me. So to break the ice, you go forward or you go back, didn't you? And I'm the type of guy who goes forward.
You don't say.
And so I went forward, and I said, "Yeah, short back and side, And I sat in the seat. He was behind me. And when he put the 2 hands down on my shoulders, it was the most frightening stuff I've ever been in my life. I just sat there like that, and he clamped his 2 hands in the back of me, scissors behind me, thinking, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. Luckily, it never.
Good haircut?
Cheap. They're always good if they're cheap.
Cheap, absolutely.
For a Scotsman, you know that.
Yeah.
So that's all right, fine.
It's all right, the dog's
I got the Australian bit in it, didn't I?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it. You did. You spotted that he's got a bit of Aussie Castle
The
dog in
Aussie
him.
dogs are worth a fortune. You know, the right prize ones with the pedigrees. They're
Yeah,
worth
not selling.
hundreds of thousands of pounds.
No, I'm joking, Philbert. I'm joking.
I can't
I would
say
never
that.
do that. Let's talk a bit about football.
Okay.
And growing up, you always obviously wanted to be a footballer.
Yeah, young man. Grew up in the tenements. Boys Brigade boy. Come through the Boys Brigade. School football, Boys Brigade, and then went into youth type of stuff, you know what I mean? And the way we went, just typical young lad running off the estates. Wanted to be a football player, wanted to play for the Rangers, wanted to play for Scotland. Never thought it was possible, but you know, you just keep going, don't you? I was never fancied Gary, never really liked that much because I was big, or I was small, then I grew, couldn't run all over the place. But eventually I just filled out, you know, I got bigger and stronger as I went along. And
your dad believed in you though, didn't he?
He did, but it's like all dads, isn't it? It's like, I look back and I think, all dads say the same. They all believe in their son is going to be a football player. I've got my lad just now. I think my lad's a great football player.
Yeah.
But I'm his dad. He was my dad, obviously, but he really believed in me. He really thought, you know, you've got this. You've got it. Don't know what he saw in me, maybe a bit of fire. But nobody else really did. Not too many people. It was only a great man, God bless him, Walter Smith, and then to really, really push for me, you know.
He was an important person in your life, wasn't he?
Because he was there at a young age at Dunc United when they took me to Dunc United. And then I missed him because I went up in the YTS. He goes back to Rangers with Souness as an assistant. I miss him. And then I break through at Dunc United, do really well. He buys me for Dunc United back. So he's a big influence in my career. And then, of course, I had him at Everton as well. He sold me as well. Like, he sold me to Newcastle and brought me back. So, yeah, but lovely man. Great manager, fantastic guy. But just a normal upbringing, really. Just wanted to be a football player, yeah.
I suspect you had a slightly different relationship with Jim McLean.
Jim was a tyrant.
He was
a tyrant.
He was at Dundee United at the time.
He was a wonderful manager, but tyrant.
In what way?
Well, he used to take money off everybody. Right, okay, so he would take money off you for anything. If you spilt that water on the floor, he'd take the money off you. Fine.
And where would that money go?
To him, probably. Who knows? Look at the idea. He was the chairman and the manager at one point. Remember?
Oh, was he?
He'd run the whole place.
Yeah.
But look, I wasn't an easy guy. You can imagine. I wasn't an easy man to deal with. I was 16 at the time. I went up, and by that time, I was, you know, I just didn't take to getting bullied. He was only a small guy, but he was fiery, and he bullied everybody. But that's just his way. Very aggressive. Shouted a lot. Screamed. Big veins popping at his wee red face. And of course, I'd seen the veins on many an occasion, didn't I? I made a lot of mistakes at the time. Wonderful coach, but on the other part, taking money off of people that can't pay their mortgage and things like that, it's not nice to do.
Yeah, but your career blossomed there.
It did.
Yeah, you scored a lot of
I
goals.
played probably my best football really at the time. You know, I was only at the time probably a big part of my career. I was fit, I was young, fearless, playing games.
Tannadice.
Tannadice.
I played there once.
I was
for
there.
Barcelona.
Gary,
Were you
I was
there?
there. Gary,
Oh
I was
dear,
there.
oh dear.
I was there. I didn't think it was your best game.
It was definitely not my best game.
I remember we all went to watch him. Mark Hughes was with you.
That's right. Yeah, we just signed.
Was it who scored with it? Kevin Gallagher scored the goal for Dunc United. Did you get beat 1-0?
Yeah, it wasn't. I can't remember.
I remember. I know we got beat. You got beaten in Nou Camp as well. For John Clark scored the header off the bar.
That's right. I always forget who scored the goals against us.
I know. Well, you were quiet that night. Let's just say, but you could see your class. You could definitely see your class. And I think I was about 40. I was 88.
UEFA Cup 1987. I think
87. Well, I was a young guy before I broke into Dunc United, and I was on the terraces there watching you.
Wasn't the first time they won both legs against Barcelona either.
No,
I was when I was just checking because I was checking what year it was, and then it said he actually did it as well. I think in the 60s, in both legs.
Well, you'd have been in the 60s. I've just missed
that. It's just a wee boy.
You're only 50, aren't you?
There's a wee boy. Everyone's either wee Jim or big Jim in the book, isn't it? I love how you describe everyone as it's either wee this or big that.
Yeah, so you do that in Scotland, don't you?
Yeah.
Big Dunk, wee Dunk. Well, I was called wee Dunk, by the way.
Wee Dunk.
Wee Dunk, because my dad was big.
Because your dad was big Dunk.
It took a long time to think about that.
Is your dad as tall as you?
No, he was smaller. But he used to be a bit bigger, but he's shrinking as he gets older.
Yeah.
Still as strong as an ox.
No. So the move to Rangers, that must have felt big.
Massive for me, really massive.
And your dad was a Rangers fan as well.
The whole family are.
Because I'm sure part of you would have been wanting to please your dad.
Yeah,
because we're all like that.
That's it. You know, it's it. Yeah, I love my dad. My dad was a Rangers man. My whole family were Rangers people. That's a club I wanted to play for. I'd obviously been involved with Scotland with Dundee United. I bumped into Ali McCoist and I had Richard Gough on there. I'd go to the Scotland camps. I'd pair up with other Rangers boys. The Celtic boys would do their thing. The Rangers boys would do their thing. I wanted to go to the Rangers. It was a bad move for me.
Why?
I wasn't ready, Gary. I just simply was not ready. Maybe it wasn't good enough. I wasn't mentally strong enough. It just didn't go well for me. Obviously, I had injuries, which was part of the excuse. But I just wasn't ready. And they knew that. Walter, who had been tapping me up for under the previous 12 months, really, had been tapping me up to come to the Rangers. And Leeds had just won the whole first division before we went into the Premier League.
They were last winners.
I was going to go there. But Rangers was the team I wanted to go to. I just wasn't ready. Bad move. I was 21 at the time, I think, 2021. Wasn't ready. I couldn't break in. Injuries, night suit, just didn't give myself a chance. And that's a big regret for me. I never gave myself a chance.
Do you regret looking back now at that early life? Do you think, what was I doing? What was I thinking?
Gary, every night.
Do you? Really?
Every night. You know, I could have been Gary Lineker.
Oh, God
You
help
know
you.
what I mean? I could have been sitting in your seat just now.
Yeah.
You know, but I believe I was that good. And when I was younger, I was that good. I was amongst the best.
Yeah.
That's why I got my big move. But I thought I'd made it. And I was wild, and football was easy to me. It was easy. I never found it difficult. I was never been injured. I just went for a bar, nightclub, to the pitch, scored a goal, away I went. And that continued for a few years, and I thought, this is easy, this.
Young people, young men, would make mistakes.
Just can't go back.
No.
You wish you could go back. I can't go back. I think about it all the time, every night when I'm lying there. I think about the daft things I've done in my life and where I could have got to. I could have went to Bayern Munich at one time. Bayern Munich wanted to sign me. I break my toe in a fight in a pub called The Rock. The bar was called The Rock. just like...
Says it all,
and I'm in it. Of course, I had to go in that bar.
Yeah.
I break my toe in a fight. It just puts me out for months and months. The Bayern Munich move never happened. But unfortunately, you can't keep on beating yourself up about it, I suppose, all the time. But you do.
Was being hard, I know, I'm not joking here, was being hard important to you as a young man? Being tough?
No, because I was very quiet, believe it or not. I've not got any pals, I don't mix. I've no friends from school. Probably no friends now, maybe one friend, two friends now. One's 83, got dementia.
You mean friends from back then? You don't
I'm friends now. I'm friends
really?
now.
You don't have any friends?
None of it really classes, you know. So probably just being on my own a wee bit and being tough. I never thought about it. I'm not tough. I know loads of other people are tough. Tough's not getting booked in your career. Tough's gone out and winning things and scoring goals and getting yourself ready for training and being successful or holding down a job, being successful, getting your family through life and put them in a good position. That's been tough. Taking cheap shots at people is not being tough. And I don't see myself as a tough guy at all. I've took a few liberties in my time. And I regret that.
Clearly. You obviously went in, I'm jumping ahead here quite a bit, to when you were coaching academy youngsters. Did you talk about your experiences to them and say, don't fall into these traps?
I had done, yeah. I did wee bits. I did wee bits for them. So, you know, I can't remember the actual saying. She said, don't get kicked to the curb or something. I used to say, and before you know it, you'll be on the curb. You'll get kicked to the curb. You've got to use this time. You can't go back.
What's the kib?
The curb. Kind of like a curb. Kind of like on the road.
Oh.
Kick to the curb.
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 Yeah,
so sorry. Sorry, you see,
I grew up with Scots people as well.
You played with a few, didn't you?
Well, loads at Leicester. We were called, I used to call us Leicester City at one point, but we had so many.
I tried to put bits, and I think they listened.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was an older guy. It's very hard to get through to young people. Yeah. It's very hard. I had no excuse. My dad wasn't a drinker. I had a good people.
Was it drink? Was the main that got you into these?
It puts you in the trouble. It puts you in that position off the field. So you know, if you take that out, you're thinking a bit straighter. You're not waiting in a taxi rank. You know, you could run home.
Yeah,
I could run home. I could have run home instead of stagger home. You know, so I don't see myself as tough. I try to help the young kids a lot. I've got a lot of life experiences, as you know, and I certainly try to pass it on. But my best advice to them, to any young man, is do not drink. Keep away from booze. Stay in the house. And, that's it really. Don't drink. Keep away from booze.
Yeah.
That's been my problem.
If you hadn't made it at football, where do you think you'd be? Do you ever think about that?
I wanted to be a gamekeeper when I was younger because I lived in, the tenements were here and I had a lovely, fantastic environment to become a football player.
The countryside.
I got the countryside behind me. So I love my fishing. I love my dogs. I love my ferrets and going for rabbits and all the countryside.
Pigeons? You famous for pigeons?
Pigeons. I've got my pigeons. My pigeons.
Race them?
Race them. Don't do it now, but I still keep my pigeons. I've got my loft in my back garden still.
Do you think perhaps if you hadn't have been a footballer, you wouldn't have got into those troubles in that stage? Do you think it was part of the fact that you were known a little
Absolutely,
bit?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, I wouldn't have got in any trouble. I wouldn't have been in any trouble really, other than, maybe a stupid thing like a drink driving offence that I got, because that was my own fault. Every other offence, I reacted to a situation. I was in that taxi rank going home. The judge would say that. The judge said in his summing ups in the court cases, we understand that you were in the taxi rank waiting to go home, but I threw the first punch.
Yeah.
Who threw the first punch, Mr. Ferguson? Hands up, it was me. And if you're the last man standing, Gary's the one that gets the ones that gets the charge.
Yeah.
If I wasn't drinking, as I said, I probably would have run home. I wouldn't have been in the taxi ranks. But definitely a target when you're a football player. You know that. Everybody knows that. Once you become a face, you're a target.
Yeah.
End of.
Yeah, not necessarily public, but certainly press. In those days particularly, they were always after, they're after people more than probably they are now. For your private life and things like that. And you went to when you went to Rangers, that was a record transfer, British transfer record, wasn't it? 4 million.
Quid.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know what my salary was. To this day,
Don't.
I could. If you gave me £1 million, then I couldn't tell you what I was getting.
No.
I don't know. I've never got a clue. I just signed for the Rangers. I knew it was more than £100 a week. It was when I done United at the time, I think. I went from 45 quid to 100 quid. I was in the Euros in 1992. I was the youngest player in the Euros in 92, and I was on about 100 quid a week. I went to Rangers for whatever it is, a few £1,000 or 3,000. I do not know to this day. So it was a big move, big money move, British transfer record. I was hot property, I was a very good player, and I was injury free.
Yeah. You had a very good career, Duncan.
I did.
You did.
But you always look at the negatives, didn't you? I played in the Premier League my whole career. I finished in the Premier League. I started in Scotland, went in England, played at the top level. Should have done so much more. International career. I played 7 caps.
7 caps, yeah.
7 caps because I was upset.
But you got stubborn, didn't you?
Stubborn.
And then because I'm reading again in the book, there's numerous times that you were asked to play again.
Every year. It's just stupid. I was young and stupid and pig-headed. Pig-headed I was. That dog enjoying
That's
that.
the dog's having a drink. Feels like a drink listening to this.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's just water. It's just water, Duncan.
So, Gary, I was pig-headed. I was young and I dug my heels in. And I think most people would say that it was unfair what happened to me. Although it was a law. I was on probation.
Yeah.
Right, I broke probation. They could have gave me community service.
They could have given you.
They could have.
Which is what Eric Cantona got, but he didn't have the previous.
He didn't have the previous assaults, but they
yeah.
could have given me community service, and they pushed for that in the court. One of the judges, the main boy, pushed for that.
You've retired from international football at a ridiculously young age. Why?
I was even younger because Craig Brown, God bless him, right, he protected me. So when I came out the prison, I was finished with Scotland, right? But I actually went back and played twice because my dad made me do it. Because he was a proud Scotsman, you have to go back. This is ridiculous. So I went back and played 2 games. I hated it because the people who gave me the 12-game ban were all still there, going, oh, good luck, Dunk, all the best.
Yeah, but they're not football people,
I
are
know,
they?
but I was younger. And bearing in mind that, when I did the prison sentence, when I came out of jail, they wanted me to serve the game again. They wanted me to serve that ban again. So I'd maybe served 1 or 2 games before the prison. I went into prison, missed 6-7 weeks of football, how many games, stack it up. And then when I came out, they didn't want to count that. They wanted to then start another 10 games for there. So I missed a few games suspension, went to prison for 3 months, 6 weeks, missed all the games, came out, was in England, and then wanted me to do another 10 games suspension. It was a wee bit unfair, I thought.
Yeah.
So I basically threw the towel in at Scotland, and I regret it.
Is that not a bit of cutting your nose off to smite your face, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People will forget the story. People don't know the story. I know the story. I'm telling them.
I know it now.
Right?
I've read it, and it's good that you get it out there.
And people just forget. People say, Duncan Ferguson's a good player. He's a big target man. He's a good player. I should have broke all records for Scotland. Now, I can say that, and I'm saying it. Nobody was better than me. Nobody at that period of time. I was
At that period, yeah.
At that period. In that period of time, for that 10, 12, 14 years, for I was 20 till I was 34, I got asked every single year.
By which managers asked you to play?
Andy Roxburgh was there. Craig Brown then become there. And then, God bless, Walter Smith was one of them. Wee German boy, Bertie Volks, come down to Goodison's one, stood in the tunnel and begged me to play. I walked by the man. He come all the way down. German player, manager, was managing Scotland. He was in the tunnel at Goodison. Duncan, please reconsider. I brushed by him.
Did you think that's a mistake now? Do you regret that?
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me.
Gary, it breaks my heart. 7 caps, no goals. For Scotland, the team that I want, I'm a jock, proud. And my dad, my family, I should have played 200 times for Scotland.
What did your dad think about that?
I think he's upset with the prison thing, isn't he? But we're all bitter.
Yeah.
But I should have went. Well, he'd actually forced me. He forced me to go back and play for Scotland. Go back.
Yeah.
I went back a couple of times. My heart wasn't in it. But I should have stuck at it. I never. I was stupid.
Yeah.
I was young, daft.
Yeah.
You were young and daft at one point as well. Not as sensible as you are now.
Yeah, but we're all daft when we're young. We always do stupid things.
I've
don't
made
we?
a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, but I was.
A lot of mistakes.
I'd run away rather.
It's not a bad way, is it? It's not a bad way. I wish I'd run away more often.
I think I've ever been in a fight.
Well, you're not missing much, mate. No. Have you seen my nose? Have you seen my nose? Can you see my nose?
I can see it, yeah.
I could give you a demonstration if you want. You want me to give you a demonstration?
Oh, is it?
This is what happens when you don't run away, right?
I don't.
You watch.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. You've got nothing in? No.
Not a bone in my nose.
Yeah, no.
That was my secret.
Oh, was it?
See?
So take a punch.
As I said, I should have been a boxer.
That's the end of part 1 of our special interview with Duncan Ferguson. The lack of bones in Big Dunk's nose is enough to make anyone take a pause. Part 2 of this interview will be out on Wednesday next week as we hear how Duncan found his happy place at Everton and what it was like playing up front with a certain Alan Shearer. Goodbye for now.